Don Liberta,
Here.
Tom Powers,
Here.
Robert Runcie, Maria Schneider,
Here.
Paula Thatchy, Jeffrey Wood. A quorum has been established.
Okay, thank you, Amy. For our mindful moment today, I would like to take a moment of silence to remember, first of all, Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's been a huge inspiration in my life, and I know in many people's lives for many different reasons. But we lost a true legend in her this week, and we've lost a homegrown legend in Mr. Rick Case, which is very sad news. Rick has been a friend of mine personally, and I know of the community. I think I can speak for all of you in saying he's touched many lives, many of them the children and families that we serve. So, if I may, a moment of silence to remember these two incredible folks. Thank you, everybody. Rick will certainly be missed in our community, and I know that both he and Ruth will live on forever. They've just made such an impact in our world. Okay, I wanted to let you know from my chair's comments today, I've had some incredible training thanks to CSC. I had the opportunity to once again take the groundwater training this month. And I had done it with many of you when we did it at the Performing Arts Center. I think that was about 2 years ago, so in person, when we did things in person back in the olden days. And it was great training then, but I have to say I really enjoyed the Zoom opportunity. I felt it was very personal, and we were chatting in the comments, and there was like some really good discussion. And I was able to take notes, and I just thought it was really, really, really well done. So please don't let the Zoom disappoint you or make you not want to do it. It was actually better, in my opinion, via the Zoom. So the content was excellent, and I know we're like sold out. It's free, but we have a wait list for our next and upcoming sessions. So if you haven't done it, please, especially our council members, it's so important. We need to walk the talk, and it was really really helpful. So it was very clear, very precise, 3 hours, and very much worth our time. I also had the opportunity to attend the suicide prevention training that was done with in conjunction with United Way and Children's Services Council. Also excellent. I encourage each of you to take a look at it as well. It was recorded, so you can catch up on it at any time, but it was really well done. As you know, it's September is Suicide Prevention Month. And the most interesting nugget I got from that was that we're really most worried right now about our community males over the age of 30 up to 65. That's the national high suicide rate in our country right now and around the world apparently. So interesting. But so take good care of each other, and I encourage you to take that training. Okay, Cindy, that's it for me. The President's report.
Thank you, Kathy. Just for the record, I'd like it to be noted that Robin Bartleman joined the meeting. And,
welcome, Robin.
And though we didn't hear Jeff say hi, I know Amy said we had a quorum.
I'm here, guys. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Robin.
Okay, so I'm going to go through this really fast, but there's a lot of good stuff that's been happening. And Lord knows there's enough bad stuff going on in the world that we need the sharing of the positive stuff. So, as you will see before you, while we could not do our typical back-to-school extravaganza, much to Sandra's dismay, as well as many of our partners, because it is something that we truly love to do, we found a way, because that's what we do at CSC. And so, instead of 3 or 4 giant distribution events, we had many, many small events. We have distributed over 8,500 backpacks already by 60 plus agencies and organizations, including all of the CSC learning pods that are going on. And, it was funny at first. It was like, why do kids need school supplies? They're not going anywhere. Why do they need a backpack? But, of course, with the learning pods and when they go back to school, having the backpack with their own individual supplies that they can take to and fro and make sure that no one else is using them is really important. what, of course, because we always take advantage of every situation that we have in order to engage with families, we also use them as food distribution sites. And if I'm not mistaken, our own Judge Gillespie participated once or twice up there in the Pompano area. This week, there's another 2,500 backpacks that are being distributed, as well as uniforms and shoes. And then 5 school boutiques will be stocked with all of with supplies to help children if they make it if they're attending school. Kathy already talked about the launch of the Zero Suicide Initiative, which went very well. The launch, we are looking forward to achieving that result of zero suicide in Broward County, and we are working in partnership with wonderful agencies, as you can see, the leads: United Way, Broward Behavioral Health, BCF, us, Broward County, 211. It's really, and there are hundreds of people who are engaged in this effort. I really wish I still looked like that picture. Anyway, future events coming up. Don't forget, read for the record. Yay! As you can see, the book there, it's Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away. Again, we're being creative with this. It's happening on October 29th. We're still trying to get volunteers. We want to create virtual reading opportunities. So we have print and electronic ads that have already started. The TV ad is going to start the last week of September, and I think Andrew is going to show you this very creative ad that we have, thanks to N Network's ingenuity.
Wherever Broward is today. On the same day. On October 29th, we need you to read the book Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away, reminding us all that no matter how far apart we are, when all stories meet, all of us can succeed.
So still gives me chills. We're going to start out to get the 4 co-chairs. That's me, Bean, and Renee from the ELC, and Dan Gold from Broward County Schools. We're all going to record ourselves reading the book, and that's going to start off the day. We'll be out there in a few places virtually. We've got 7 billboards and 75 schools in the Broward County Public School System, as well as 157 private preschools have all signed up to have readings done. So very exciting. We have, also, as we told you in the issue paper, we're doing story walks. And the nice thing, these are outside, they use the book, they set it up, parents can walk through with their kids and read. It's a really lovely thing. And we already have 9 different organizations that have agreed to mount them. Flamingo Gardens, the Frank Gallery, City of Tamarack, Jewish Federation, City of Miramar, Hallandale Beach, Parkland Library, City of Parkland, well, they're doing that together, and the City of Hollywood. So that's pretty exciting, and I understand from Megan that they're calling, the different electeds are calling and trying to get more of them up and running. So I wouldn't be surprised if when we do the recap afterwards, I have more than 9 to tell you about. And then Candidate Connection, which is something we do every couple of years, is going on. We're partnering with United Way and Jewish Federation to host virtual, always, Candidate Connections. This time we're going to focus on the incoming freshmen, a few of whom are, their races have already been decided based on the primary, and a few where there are 2 people running. And so we'll have both. Our own Robin Bartleman will be one of the candidates who will be participating. And it's an opportunity for the candidates to talk to the human services community, but it's also, more importantly, from our perspective, a chance for the human services community to educate new legislators on the issues that are important to us. So very excited about that. A lot of work going into there. You'll be getting the email very shortly, but it's taking place, as you might be able to see from the screen, October 5th at 1 o'clock. So there you have that. I've been busy. I got to do a little interview on NBC6, and I hope you saw. I just want to point out, we made it to the big time. We were in the Washington Post. Our pods were in the Washington Post. So in case you don't actually read the CSC in the news, I wanted to make sure to point that out to you because it's pretty exciting. So if you look in your packet there, they were highlighting what pods are like, and highlighted that we had been working on that. And unfortunately, we were the tail end of the article. We probably could have written a whole article just on what we're doing, but at least we got in there. Pretty cool. And then the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, their flagship marketing publication, the Economic Source Book, we are going to be featured. We're going to be the splash page or whatever that introduces the Talent Hub chapter, with a quote from me saying something about how, cultivating talent starts at birth. So that's kind of fun. And then one last piece of happy news and one kind of sad piece of news. I guess, Andrew, there's no graphic to go with either of these, but the out of the blue, we got an email from an attorney who said, "You have been named in the estate of Carol Rogas of Pompano Beach, who designated the Children's Services Council to receive 2% of the net funds in her trust to CSC." And I said, "Monty, don't be ridiculous. That must be a scam. Don't give them any banking information, because the next thing you know we will have lost everything." But it turns out it was for real. And it's about $14,000. It will be about $14,000 in total. We already received a check for $13,000, and it's to be used for K-12 education. So we will bring back to you what we think that should be used for, but current thinking is probably the easiest, cleanest place for it to go, where we can send some nice pictures to her niece, who's still living, is for the back-to-school extravaganza, because that really could make a difference and provide more school supplies for children. So that's fun. And in the last piece of kind of sad news, a very, very dear friend of the CSC, Michelle Rogers, who has been running the Nurturing Parenting program for Family Central, I believe, since our first year in operation. It's a highly successful program working with our youngest and most vulnerable children and families, and she is leaving to move to North Carolina. So I wanted a chance to say thank you to Michelle. She has been a tireless friend of CSC's and to the children and families of Broward. Michelle, I'm not sure if you're on, and if you wanted to say anything, we can release you to speak for 2 minutes if you're here. Can't tell. Angie, do we know? She had said she wanted to say thank you.
I see her. If you'd like now, I can release her.
Yes, and I noticed when I looked at the participants, it appears Mr. Runcie has now joined the meeting as well. And
Hi.
I saw Beam. Did I see Beam? Yes, and Beam. So the record should reflect that they are now in the meeting as well. Okay, Michelle, you've got 2 minutes, my love.
Hello. Hi. So, yeah, it was bittersweet. I had to make some really hard phone calls this week about leaving. Broward County's been my home for 56 years. I've been grown, educated, fallen in love, had children, advocated since forever. It's hard to believe that this moment has come. Unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, my daughter is requiring medical care that is going to require me to redirect all of my attention to her. My husband's up in North Carolina, um, but the good work continues. I am very humbled and pleased to know that something that got started, and the advocacy that it took to make CSC happen, and the work that it took nurturing to get started will continue long after I'm gone. And the community is in a much better place. Our families and children are in a much better place than where we were as children growing up in Broward County, where some of us are still around. Um, and Cindy, I am very grateful you found good hair day pictures. I had no idea you were doing this, so you caught me, and that's really hard to do, is to surprise me. Um, know that my work will not stop. I've actually been asked to work with Dr. Babalik, the developer, and capture the story about how Broward County, how CSC began, how did we get this pot of money, and how did we develop a nurturing program that's been replicated across the country. So what process did it take to make that happen? And I will be using your stories, your words. Cindy, I will miss you, and the beautiful way that you just present the facts and are able to speak to everybody, that you're approachable on the days that I've had to say something maybe a little strong. You've been able to listen. And I still have a job. I'm wondered about that sometimes. And the way that this council is so approachable for any child's issue just really makes this truly a unique place. So thank you. I will miss you all.
Thank you, Michelle. We will miss you too. We couldn't let you leave the county without a thank you. Big hugs, honey.
Big hugs.
So, from there, I did notice also, I think Mr. Runcie and Dr. Thatchy have joined the meeting. So if the record can reflect that as well, I think we now have the full council present. Yay. All right. Just in time for the votes to begin. So there were two items related to COVID update, and that was items little I and 2I about the clear masks and the learning pods. I just want to point out with the learning pods so far, they are up and running. They are doing well. It is, and I would like some, I forget if we put this in the paper, the confirmation that it would be your intention that when schools are open, the pods, yes, there were several, I don't want to lose the fact that there were several items under the learning pods. It's the reconciliation that I had promised you last month about how much expenditure we had actually committed up until now, which was below what you had approved. The idea that the pods will close when the schools open will take them through the end of the week. The only area that we were a little concerned about was the ESE, but I happened to speak to Sarah from JAFCO this afternoon on a different issue, and she mentioned that, it is her expectation to close when school closes. She doesn't think that she'll see the kind of, we were concerned schools would open, something would happen, they'd have to close, and we would need these pods again. She doesn't think so, but I still think it would be helpful to know that I had your authorization just in case anything unexpected happens. All of the others can operate under the contracts that we currently have. There's sufficient money. We will come back to you if additional dollars are needed later. So, if anybody wants to move those two items behind tab 17, well, if you have any questions on either of those, I'm happy to entertain them. And if you want to make a motion to approve the items included in I and 2I for tab 17 and 18.
I have a question.
Yeah, Robin, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. So I know Sarah doesn't anticipate them having to reopen, but with the flu season coming up, we may have to close again because nobody knows what the numbers are going to look like. So you're going to be able to open them up again. I didn't understand that. Would we have the ability, if something happened, to open them again?
If you for all of the ones that are after school programs, they have enough money in the contract to be able to open. They will be operating as after school programs. They'll close as pods, but they'll be operating as after school programs. If they need to repurpose, they should be capable of doing that. JAPCO is a little unique,
Right.
as normally there is summer only. So if you approve the flexibility for me to be able to do that, then I would be able to respond if necessary.
Okay, and then are you going to the after school programs that are in our schools? How do you determine, is it like the pods, first come, first serve? Because I know the pods filled up very quickly.
After school programs in the schools will run the same way they've, will.
Is it like first come, first serve? Because the pods filled up, like especially the ESE ones, and it was really unfortunate because a lot of people were left out there. So how's the space or the capacity with the after school programs?
That's still being determined. Each of the providers are in conversation with the schools to find out how much space they have. And we're looking at the staffing that would be necessary to meet those needs. It is clear, sadly, there isn't sufficient capacity to serve everybody who needs or wants it. It's one of the concerns I had when opening the pods. And I mean, obviously, as many as we could serve is better than serving none. But we knew that the pod capacity was not going to come close to meeting the need.
And then, that's my dog yelling at me, I'm sorry. Will the dinners program still be served?
Where dinners were available through the USDA program, absolutely.
Great, okay, and then do you need does the motion include the flexibility, or do you need me to add that?
Yeah, the motion, no, if you look at the actions, those 3 actions there, number 3 includes that flexibility. And then notice I didn't ask for anything specific because nothing was needed yet, but we also talked about keeping the child care centers open so that they have the capacity if necessary to take children.
Okay, so I was just gonna amend anything you needed amended. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Did you make a motion?
I'll motion it.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Beam. Any further discussion? Angie, any public comment? All, was that no?
I didn't hear her say anything, so I'm guessing no.
Okay, we're going to assume no, and we'll come back if there was. All in favor?
Oh, she wrote no comment.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays?
Aye.
Any nays? And there are no abstentions. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay.
The AEAP grant update, I think was self-explanatory. We are hoping to get that bill in as soon as possible. It's very close to being prepared. The big issue was in order to pay the city of Parkland, we had to have an agreement. Just wanted to be clear that that was done. So, in case you ever wonder, that was in all of the paperwork before, but if any big payment to the city of Parkland, that's why, and it will all be reimbursed by the AEAP grant. So, for racial equity, Kathy already talked about, there's a lot going on. The Racial Equity Institute has now adapted both the 2-day racial equity workshop and the groundwater presentation to fully virtual version. We really got held up on a lot of work during this time, but I'm proud or happy. Proud, but I'm pleased that they have figured out how to do the program virtually, and it has gotten good reviews so 3 virtual groundwater sessions in the month of September, and we, in conjunction with the United Way. And then we're gonna do 3 additional sessions in the coming weeks, and then we'll have the first 2-day virtual racial equity workshop in November. If any of the council members are interested in attending, please reach out to Amy. They've all filled up really fast, but we have ways of fitting you in if you need to attend. Okay, any questions on any of that? There's no need for approval on either of those, so we will be moving into the consent agenda, Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask if any of our council members wish to pull any items or wish to discuss, or if anyone needs to abstain from anything.
Kathy, I'd like to pull tab 23, simple question.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes or no? Yes, I think drug.
Okay, shall we do that now? Your question, Tom?
Yeah, just real simple, United Way decided to end funding. Do we know why, or just something we need to be aware of, or
Because I know it's going to give me a headache.
why did
So
that happen?
the answer is yes.
My understanding is they did not get the kinds of outcomes that they were looking for. Programs had a hard time actually doing what the contract was for because it was a day respite for families, and they obviously couldn't do day respite. So they have been redirecting their money into more food and the pods, etc. And so it didn't fit into their planning at this
Why
point.
can't you remember? Because I drink. Why do you drink? Because I'm
Is
stressed.
that clear for you, Tom?
Yeah, but okay.
The contract may die a natural death
Okay, Gator. Nice to see you again.
if they can't get the other
What do you drink?
matching funds.
A little blow at a party. Some shrooms, nothing
Okay.
crazy. Yes,
Any other
The
questions?
answer is yes.
So can I put that back in then, Cindy, so I can approve them all?
If it's okay with Tom?
Sure.
Sure.
I just needed to answer the
Occasionally,
question.
like on our anniversary,
Tom.
stuff like that.
Okay, so can I have a motion, to approve the consent agenda, please?
Move it.
Well, whoever you're having sex with, are you using
Got
protection?
that, Amy?
I don't like guns.
Was that Dawn?
Yes. Are
No,
you sure?
it was Maria. I think I seconded it.
How many
Oh,
exceptions?
okay.
Can't remember. Why can't you
It
remember?
was Tom and, Maria.
What do you do when you're stressed?
Okay.
Prescription drugs?
All in, sorry, any further discussion? Angie, any public
It
comment?
isn't obvious already. I'd say the source
No
of the
public
problem is
comment.
apparent.
Thank you, Angie. All in favor?
Obviously, the biggest problem in life.
Aye.
Any nays?
What?
And there are no abstentions. Consent agenda is, carried. Okay, agency capacity building report under tab X. David. And Jeffrey.
All right. We are tag teaming. So I am up first. So just the capacity building mini grant update is just kind of what I'm talking about. And so the grant window period was August 3rd through the 31st. There were a total of 8 applications that were received and 7 of merit that were able to be moved on to be rated. 5 of the applicants had requested project funding only. And then there were 2 applicants who actually requested project funding and fundraising support. And applicant interviews. Today's been a busy day for me. I've had an opportunity to participate in the interviews this morning for those applicants. And so rating took place today, and so that'll kind of be wrapping up. And we're hoping to make sure that we have some recommendations to you all, to the council for the October 15th meeting. But it's been a great experience so far, participating in the KISS process and now also participating in the capacity building and just seeing some great perspectives across the board. And a lot of great work is being done in the community and a lot of support is being given. And so I'm hoping to bring those recommendations before you all on the 15th. And now I'll pass it over to Jeff.
Thanks, David. And before I move on to my section, it's been a busy day for me too. I'm going through my first grant review process, and it's a great place to plug in, getting to see all the feedback and what talent there has to be to write these grants. It's pretty amazing, and I'm sure on the bigger level grants, it's got to even be more difficult to discern the difference between who's writing a great grant and who's providing great services. So it's great to be plugged into this process. But for my part of this, we had our quarterly ACB meeting on August 26th. Another great panel. I take notes during all these because I'm learning just as much as anyone that's participating. You can always tell when you've got a great panel discussion when the questions from the group come out and the answers are clear and articulate from this great panel. We had a guest speaker, community resource highlight was Joe Rebound from Executive Services Corp. On the actual panel was Christine Frederick from the Flight Center, Stephen Ferrante from Group Victory Consulting, Raquel Lopes from the World's Aid Museum, and Will Spencer from 211. Just a really great panel. And they covered topics in terms of how to cultivate good board members, what to do when you have a board member that may not be meeting the needs and goals of the organization, how to look at bylaws in that context, the mission of the board. Really useful information for all of our nonprofits in the community that are looking to serve kids in our community. So it was a privilege to be involved with that, and just a really good organized effort by CSC staff, highlighting our Pure Down for organizing all that. Coming up later on, we have some training opportunities, grant writing, which I think after today's experience would be a very good thing for anyone to participate in with Linda Saltzman. Another training opportunity coming up is high frequency leadership with Christine McKay. She's going to follow that up with Young Professionals Leadership Series, which I'll probably be taking. And then one of our people on our panel today is going to be doing a series on preventing medical errors. And lastly but not leastly, trauma-informed care with Charlene Greasy. So that's our joint report. It's been great working with David. Couldn't ask for a better tag team partner. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Joe. I absolutely agree.
Thank you, gentlemen. You know, it's really wonderful that you both stepped up. I know you're new members, but to get involved so quickly, and I can't agree with you more, Jeffrey, that when you do these deep dives and really get involved like this, you learn not only about CSC and what happens in the back of the house, but also what's happening in the community as a whole, which makes us better leaders on the dais. So thank you to both of you. I know it takes a lot of time and effort, but it's definitely worthwhile. So we appreciate the fact that you took the time to do it. Thank you. Okay, Maria, Funders Forum report.
Hello. So in the packet are the minutes from the August 7th meeting, and pretty much if you had time to review the minutes, we worked on the learning pod procurement and had it released on the Monday after Funders Forum, and then did some follow-up on some racial equity work that we're doing in Funders Forum.
Madam Chair, if I may, Maria is incredibly modest, and I have to say, with these learning pods, you know, it began with a call from one of our partners who said, you know, there's a lot, we're all getting these requests from different agencies to fund learning pods. Would you mind pulling people together and see, because that's what we do. So we did. And we put them together, they agreed, and some of us have gathered together many times in the past. Jim Moran Foundation, I have to give kudos to, you know, we've been joining the hip on several ventures years. But H. Henderson, we've had a relationship with United Way. Of course, we've had different relationships with all of the people, Jewish Federation, but they all came together and agreed together, and Maria wrote an application overnight. When she said it was ready today, not kidding. So United Way was gracious enough to host the application, and we are so grateful that they took on the administrative side of that. But Maria was really brains behind both the application and the rating sheet, and it was and negotiating multiple partners. There are a few places where three of us both have contracts with agencies and had been approached to fund things. And what I asked is, can we all go in and negotiate together? And so that Maria made it happen. And so I just want to say, it looks easy in the minutes, and she makes it sound like nothing, but it's really not nothing.
I appreciate that, Cindy. Thank you. I work with an amazing group of people in the program services department, and Meg and her team were great partners in making this happen as well. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I just want to jump in. I've been doing a lot of work in the community this month, and it came up more than once through various agencies about this particular collaboration. And only in Broward County can we get pods, and we were the ones in the Washington Post, and people are looking to us, and really the backbone of all of that is CSC. So Maria, I agree with Cindy. You are very modest. That was a huge undertaking, and we're very proud of the work you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Couldn't do it without Cindy and the rest of the leadership team and all of you, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, council members, public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Angie?
We have one person. We have Keisha Gray from the RAP department. Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you repeat who it is, please?
Keisha wants to public comment?
It was, she had her hand raised, but it went down. Never mind.
You intimidated her, Cindy.
He can.
Keisha, your last hand. Okay, any other public comments?
No public comment.
Okay, Angie, thank you for that. Any council member comment? This is your chance, folks. It's 4:37. We have to keep going till, I guess we can close, Cindy, correct?
We can, and you can take a break for 15 minutes, or you can rip, yeah.
But we need you, so don't go anywhere. Is there any, let's just make sure, council members, is there anything you wish to discuss before we take a break and then do trim at 5:01? Okay, then I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody, for your time and attention, and we will start promptly at 5:01 with our trim.